Hello students and good day to you all. Happy New Year. Today it is the 1st of January 2018 and this is our weekly market review for the current market status. Today we're going to talk widely about the Bitcoin rate and we're going to cover the dollar condition on the Forex side as well. Let's move forward to our chart station. So we will start with the US dollar. Last week I've mentioned that in this condition over here we should receive additional uptrend, but I advise traders to close their position if we will move forward below this specific bottom. As you can see, the market did not penetrate that territory, and indeed the market climbed up very nicely from that position and forward for a higher rate. We talked a lot about the dollar potential to lose strength in the market several weeks ago, and I was expecting to receive this move, just that we did not have enough patience for this specific movement. As you can see, it took a lot of time until the market expressed this weakness on behalf of the dollar. Me myself, I've closed this position, but we've got a lot of students that stayed in this position, and I wish you all the best with this specific trade. Let's move forward and look at the dollar index. So on the dollar index side, you can see indeed that from that position that we've talked about over here, we can see that the dollar lost a lot of strength and is continuing in that specific motive. Now, it has a lot to do with the cryptocurrencies, but we can say that right now we've got a potential to see the dollar regaining its strength according to this structure. And let me explain why I'm saying that. Because right now we're dealing with a deep corrective pattern. I'm always saying that as we've got additional information on the chart, we should always be receptive to analyze the potential of the dollar to change its perspective. So generally we've got a specific directional movement over here. We call that an impulse movement, and we've got a 5 wave of an uptrend movement, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. In addition to that, we've got potential for 3 waves of a downtrend movement. That's just a potential. What I'm talking about right now, we've got a potential for a 3-wave movement in terms of structure, in terms of equivalent structure of the A wave and the C wave. And therefore, there is a slight potential for additional 5 wave of an uptrend over here to complete an A, B, C structure. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Approximately this kind of formation in terms of the difference between the 4th wave and the 2nd wave, and so on and so forth. So generally, we can see a potential of the dollar to gain strength at the moment in the markets. And in order for me to look for confirmation regarding this specific potential, what we're advising our traders to do is to go and analyze the gold, because the gold again is reflecting a change that we're expecting to receive on the dollar side. So regarding the dollar, we've covered that up. The potential that I'm seeing right now on behalf of the dollar is to change its position and to gain strength in the market, to complete additional corrective pattern and then move forward for a lower rate. We've got a lot of traders out there that are still in this position, and if you're not planning to close this position yet, still I advise you to lower, to minimize your exposure for this specific trade, because there is a very high potential for seeing a stronger dollar in the market on the counter movement that we've received for the last several weeks. Let's move forward and look at the euro in front of the Australian dollar. The euro in front of the Australian dollar, I've talked about this trade. I was looking at a potential to see weakness on this chart. We've had an amazing entry point at this potential over here, as we saw the head and shoulders pattern that we can see over here, the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. The potential is to see additional downtrend. The beautiful thing is that right now we can see a completion of 5-wave movement. Okay, lowering the time frame to a 4-hour time frame, that should be sufficient. We can see a 5-wave movement over here. That is the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. Okay, we have a bit of penetration on the 4th wave to the 1st wave structure, but still when we're hiring the time frame to a daily chart, we can see that indeed they do not penetrate one another in terms of structure. So right now we've got a potential to see a corrective pattern completing an uptrend movement. So we've got a potential to see an entire 1st wave and a 2nd wave climbing up, and additional third and fourth and fifth, not with these dimensions, but a higher amount of a downtrend movement, as we were explaining 2 weeks ago. So generally, I still see a potential of the euro to lose strength in front of the Australian dollar. I was talking about a higher profit potential in front of a very, very small risk potential. And right now we can see that the market already formed a 3% of a downtrend movement very nicely in terms of profit. That is enormous when it comes down to the forex market. So we've completed the idea of the euro in front of the Australian dollar. Let's go and see what's going on with the Bitcoin. So if you'd like to open the Bitcoin, it is the BTC versus the USD. Looking at the chart itself, we've talked about a very large downtrend that we're expecting to receive approximately toward the $8,000 per Bitcoin. Let's reanalyze this chart, because we've got additional information, and I was expecting to receive this information in order for me to reach a very high precision when it comes down to a conclusion regarding the future of this specific currency. So let's lower the time frame to 4-hour charts, and what we can see over here is again as a long uptrend movement, a very nice uptrend movement. Let's reanalyze this specific structure. We've got a 5-wave of an uptrend movement that is in the middle of a movement. That is what we call a 3rd wave. So it completed a 5-wave of an uptrend movement, and we've got additional 5 waves that describes the entire uptrend movement. And it's important for us to divide these movements, because when we're dealing with a corrective pattern, which we're at the moment over here, it corrects a specific structure that we've received on this scale. And if we know that in terms of psychology, in terms of movement, in terms of economy, there is a potential to form a specific corrective pattern that has a measurement of a specific movement, then it corrects a specific movement that has another measurement. And according to this measurement, we can make our assessment. So first of all, the first thing that I'm doing, I'm sketching the Fibonacci scale, dividing this specific path, this specific time frame, and we can see indeed that we've got a completion of a 50% downtrend movement. Now let's look at this specific structure. What we can see over here is a first wave, a formation of a second wave, and our expectation to see a third wave. So we've got a 3-wave potential of a corrective pattern. If I'll mark that in a corrective pattern structure, we've got 3 waves of an A, B, C pattern. That is the A wave. And over here regarding the B wave, we've got a large question mark. I will describe that in a second, but let's just assume that this is the B wave, and our expectation is to see a C wave dropping down. So first of all, we've got a completion of the A wave, no question about that. But right now, we have a question regarding this specific structure. It might be that we're looking at additional uptrend before continuing lower, and we might see this structure specifically continuing its downtrend movement. So I want to define the 2 different structures that we can expect to receive over here. The first structure is talking about the B wave as if it's already completed. A, B, and C. That are 3 waves of a B wave. So we might see this B wave as a completed B wave, and therefore it completed its structure over here. But it's a bit disturbing looking at this specific structure and making this conclusion, because usually the B wave has a longer period to complete its structure. And therefore my assessment regarding this specific B wave is that we see this one as the A wave, 3 waves of the A wave, 1, 2, 3. The downtrend completing another 3 wave, that is 1, 2, 3, that is the B wave. And my assessment is that we will see additional uptrend that will climb toward the 16.5 rate, or even climbing up toward the 17 level, 17,000. And from that position, dropping down, and let me give you my expectation regarding this specific downtrend. So my expectation is indeed to see this C wave dropping down, as I said last week, toward the $8,000 per Bitcoin. I'm talking over here about the 8,700 rate. So My expectation from the Bitcoin is to see additional uptrend right now that will climb toward the 17K, and from that position dropping down toward the 8700, and from the 8700 I will look for buying the Bitcoin for additional very strong long-term 2018 uptrend movement. Next week, we will analyze a long-term potential regarding the Bitcoin, talking about time frames when we're expecting to receive specific movements and our targets when it comes down to an uptrends or downtrends in terms of the logical structure. I wish you all the best with your trades. Have a pleasant weekend and a lovely year, and bye-bye.